So a lot of people on BookTube use their bookshelves as a backdrop, and I think that's pretty cool because I need a change of scenery, but I have a little bit of a problem. Here's my bookshelf, and here's my bed. And there is not very much room between the two. I'm just gonna try it anyway. Alright, let's try this. Okay, nope. Oh, that's... Hang on, no. I can't, my leg. Come on. Oh. There we go. And once again, we return.
Oh, they might seem mighty, but their power is nothing more than mere fool of a Tukari compared to the power of a lightning bolt wielded by an Ishtari.
I think that means he's angry.
Come, noble warriors, face the wrath of the Master Mages. To magic! To magic!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tanner's Books and Beyond. And I should probably be welcoming myself back as well. What can I say? Poor time management is a hell of a drug. But now I should be making more regular videos. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I will not be eating those words in a week. Now, even though I haven't been making videos for the past few months, I have managed to stay on top of my reading, so I do have several books that I'm able to discuss. Today we're going to stick with what we left off with last time, which was Pile of Bones by Bailey Cunningham. Pile of Bones is another story about several young adult protagonists who discover that they can enter a fantasy land separate from our own, and so they go there, and they have lots of crazy magical adventures, and they get embroiled in the politics, and then they're sent on a quest to fight evil and save the day. Now, there are two things that make this story different from your usual fantasy land fare. First off is that the world they go to, Anfractus, it actually functions on Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game logic. So when they enter the world, they actually assume alternate personas that are completely separate from their real-life identities, and they have their own backstories, and they have character classes, and they're like members of guilds and parties, and they literally accept quests, and then they're talking to certain characters, and they can tell they're NPCs because their dialogue seems very scripted, and there are certain points during dramatic events where they're even given the power to roll dice and affect the outcomes and probabilities of things going on in an attempt to handle the situation better. And the second cool thing about this is that it's set in Regina, Saskatchewan, which is never shown in any Canadian literature or Canadian set literature at all. It's like the whole province doesn't exist, and so it's crazy being able to read a book that's set in my hometown because we're never mentioned. The only time we come up is when the writers are doing something important. Although I actually did know it was set in Regina. I actually sought it out because it's set in Regina. And I also sought it out because this book is written by my creative writing professor from the University of Regina. Yeah. So because of all this familiarity, it was really cool just going through here and being like, oh, I know that place. Oh, I've been to that spot in the University of Regina. And then also just reading through some of the prose and recognizing things that I had been taught in his classes as stuff that's shining through and oh, yeah, I remember that lesson. Now, just because I know the guy that wrote this, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go easy on it, because there are some major flaws I feel need to be pointed out. First off is that there are a lot of things in the universe of Anfractus, or the city of Anfractus, that do not get clarified or explained very well. That's eventually, after I reread some things a few times, I was able to deduce what they were trying to say, but for the most part you're left floundering until halfway through when you're able to put all the pieces together and figure out what they're trying to reference. It does help if you're more familiar with, high fantasy cliches and role-playing game elements, but even then it was a little bit muddy. The other issue is, okay, this is a story told from varying points of view, and that itself is not the issue, because of the 4 points of view we get, 3 of them are quite good, but then there's the second to last one. Oh god, it's so bad. The character who it comes from, all he can think about is sex and where he's going to get sex next. And he's just has so little development inside his own thing. Like everyone else, they have a little bit of development in their own points of view, and you can see the other characters developing from outside their points of view as well. But the second to last guy, he is just... his first action is seducing his friend, and then after that there's basically no character work at all. It's just exposition and plot, and their other characters are doing more than he does in his own focus area. And the whole thing seems to grind to a halt, and thank God that there's a robot fox who interrupts the coitus, which is a sentence I never thought I would say, but thank God. Honestly, that one section, it almost made me not want to finish the series because this is the first in a trilogy. And I was almost thinking, oh, this just went south so fast, and I don't want to keep going if this is what it's going to be like. But then the last point of view, it brings everything back. It's very wittily told. It's probably the best one just because it is so differently written. Okay, well, not so differently, but the character has such different perspectives from the other three that she builds up the momentum and makes everything just more interesting again. And then at the very end, there's just like this huge twist. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well now I have to finish it because everything has changed. Although, in hindsight, I think the twist might be a little bit obvious about 3/4 of the way through, but I was taken by surprise. So if you're a fan of fantasy stories and RPG type stories, then this is definitely something you should check out. It is, for the most part, very well written. It's just that one section that really hurts it. But trust me when I say, once you start nearing the end, it picks up full steam, and it is a very intriguing ending. Like I said, it is part of a trilogy, which I have not checked out the other 2 books yet, but I do plan on it. I'm hoping that they will be as good, if not better than this, and not completely crash to the ground, but we won't know until we try. So that's everything I've got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and if you didn't, be gentle. But until next time, and hopefully that next time is not 2 months away, I'll see you guys later.